Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're unraveling what I think is one of the biggest paradoxes in modern pharma. Think about it. How are we engineering these brilliant mRNA vaccines and highly personalized gene therapies, yet still relying on paper-based batch records on the factory floor? Let's dig into the latest data from Deloitte, Master Control, and major industry players to figure out how the smartest pharmaceutical companies are finally bridging that huge gap between small-scale lab experiments and full-blown enterprise-wide smart manufacturing.
Here's our blueprint for escaping this bottleneck. We're going to look at the pharma pilot trap, how digital twins change the game, real-time quality control, the scale-up roadmap, and finally, the massive ROI of pulling this off. Let's dive right in.
All right, part one, the pharma pilot trap and why smart manufacturing so often just stalls out.
Get this, a massive 69% of pharma manufacturers are currently stuck in what we call pilot purgatory. They are completely unable to deploy smart technologies at scale. Recent data shows companies are throwing huge money at AI, IoT, and continuous manufacturing, but the successes remain totally isolated. The tech works beautifully in the lab, right? But then it just stalls out on the floor. Why? Well, if you're leading a transition, you need to hear this. Failure to scale is almost never about the tech itself. It's about fragmented data architectures. 73% of companies are struggling to integrate their data across systems. If your data foundation is a fractured mess, your AI models literally cannot function reliably when it's time to scale them up.
And honestly, this next part is even more alarming. Only a tiny 1% fraction of organizations have achieved truly intelligent AI-driven operations. And here's the absolute kicker. That number actually dropped from 3%. Yeah, progress is moving backward in some areas because of a systemic connectivity crisis. We've basically gotten rid of manual operations, but the digital systems that replace them, they aren't talking to each other. We have a massive disconnect between IT and operational technology. You simply cannot have real-time, data-driven AI control when your information technology network and your shop floor operational systems are locked in separate silos.
Moving on to Section 2, enter the digital twin, or virtualizing the physical world.
So think of a digital twin as a highly sophisticated flight simulator, but for your factory. It lets engineers predict bottlenecks and run complex what-if scenario simulations before a single dollar of physical capital is spent. And this isn't just a static 3D model. A digital twin continuously mirrors the exact behavior, control logic, and performance data of its real-world counterpart. By doing this in a virtual space, manufacturers can test their logic, run automated factory acceptance tests, and simulate the entire jump from a small-scale pilot environment all the way up to commercial production. It is, without a doubt, a total game changer for risk management.
And we're seeing real-world giants use these not as fun little side experiments, but as mission-critical infrastructure to drastically slash their validation times. Take Pfizer, for example. They leveraged GPU-enabled computational fluid dynamics to build incredibly detailed physics-based models of their bioreactors. That created a virtual roadmap that slashed the number of physical experiments they needed, bringing vaccines to market significantly faster. At the same time, Novartis and GSK deployed facility-wide digital replicas to lock in quality assurance and boost batch uniformity. The bottom line across the industry, digital twins are cutting engineering and validation time by an incredible 40 to 70%. That's just huge.
Okay, Section 3, real-time quality control and closing the loop at scale.
What we're dealing with here is a massive paradigm shift. In the old quality by testing era, you'd manufacture a batch, pull a sample, and wait days, sometimes weeks, for the lab results. If it failed, boom, you threw out the whole batch. But now, with quality by control, we use process analytical technology. Think inline Raman spectroscopy or real-time pH sensors that constantly monitor the product while it's literally being made. If a parameter starts drifting, the system automatically corrects it on the fly. This drives us straight to the ultimate goal in pharma: real-time release testing, where the product's quality is guaranteed the exact moment it finishes production.
But here's the thing. This quality by control setup really relies on continuous manufacturing. This transforms production from that old stop-and-go batch process into a high-speed, integrated highway. Instead of moving materials around in discrete, disconnected steps, continuous manufacturing feeds everything through one closed, integrated loop. This architecture is what actually makes real-time control commercially viable at scale. It heavily speeds up production time, absolutely slashes the margin for human error, and takes up way less physical space on the factory floor. Which brings us to Section 4, the scale-up roadmap, going from pilot to actual enterprise performance.
So how do we actually build this high-speed highway without stalling out like the 69% we talked about earlier? Well, it comes down to following a very structured timeline. The companies that succeed don't just run random, isolated pilots. They design their pilots with scale-up intent from day one. Before the pilot even starts, they're defining commercial scale metrics, regulatory frameworks, and their data architecture. Then, roughly between months 12 and 30, they're virtually commissioning facilities using those digital twins, and by months 24 to 48, they are replicating these fully validated models across their global manufacturing networks.
But the absolute prerequisite, what you have to nail in those first 12 months, is laying the foundational infrastructure. Because, let's be real, AI and digital twins simply cannot process paper data or operate on siloed systems. Step 1. You have to eliminate paper batch records entirely. Next, you must build highly secure, interoperable data pipelines between your operational technology on the shop floor and your enterprise IT systems. Finally, establish a Center of Excellence. This is a cross-functional team, usually co-led by the COO and the CTO, that standardizes processes and drives the transformation across the whole business. Because remember, and this is a critical takeaway for any leader listening, real transformation only happens when your operations and your technology strategies are completely unified.
And finally, Section 5, the ROI of scaling up. Let's look at the tangible business payoff.
The sheer magnitude of the payoff here is staggering. I mean, Johnson & Johnson is decreasing testing lead times by a massive 90%. According to industry surveys and case studies, production output reliably jumps by 10 to 20%. Predictive maintenance scales up to slice unplanned downtime right in half, and manufacturers that actually adopt these smart ecosystems are experiencing twice the revenue growth and digital maturity compared to their peers who are still lagging behind in earlier digitization stages.
These metrics are so undeniable that the big players are pushing all their chips into the middle. Eli Lilly, for example, just committed a staggering $4.5 billion to build a dedicated center for advanced manufacturing. It's called the Lilly Medicine Foundry, and it's explicitly designed to master process scale-up and next-generation medicine delivery. Yes, it's a massive financial bet, but it's built on the proven certainty that the digital twin and real-time control ecosystem actually works when you govern it correctly.
So, the technological blueprint is officially proven. The real question now is, which organizations will actually escape the pilot trap to define the future of medicine? Will it be the legacy giants pivoting fast, or the agile newcomers building natively digital factories right out of the gate? The gap between a pilot and true enterprise performance is no longer a technology problem, it's an organizational and integration challenge. The roadmap is clear. The question is, who has the leadership to execute it? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep asking the right questions.